We are on the air, Pops. What time is it?
It is NCAA Sweet 16 time.
Yes, indeed it is. Pops, I can't believe we made it through, but we are alive. We are still dancing in the big dance.
There was never a doubt. What are you talking about?
Never a doubt. Neither one of us screamed at our televisions, I'm sure. So welcome one, welcome all. I am Mike. That is Pops. This is the Big Dance Podcast. This is part 2, which I have called Survive in Advance. A bunch of relatives, friends, colleagues texted me right after the game, and almost every single one of them said, survive in advance. I know it's been said many times. Oh, he's getting on a scotch early. But we barely made it through. We are on to the Sweet 16. We're going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to go over the UConn game. Me and Pops will break it down and tell you what we saw. We are going to preview the upcoming game in the Sweet 16 against the Maryland Terrapins. Maybe go into a couple other matchups that pique our interest. And finally, we will reveal our favorite Gator moments in the tournament of tournaments past. And there's been a few, including the ones that we just saw in the UConn game. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Pops, the UConn game and my least favorite coach of all time, Danny Hurley, brought their team in. They were ready to play. What did you see in the game?
For some reason, we just didn't seem to be ready. I mean, It was like, even though we were winning and halftime comes, we're tied, it just seemed like, we're losing momentum at different parts of the game, until the last 5 minutes, and we just turned it on, These teams are going to get tougher. We just can't do that. We got to come out and blast through this thing right away. For whatever reason, I love Walter Clayton Jr. I love him to death, okay? But the start of the game, it was kind of remember the lackadaisical kind of Clayton where it's like, nothing really bothers this kid, which I really like. When the pressure comes, he doesn't have a problem. But sometimes it just kind of, turn the ball, I'll turn this one, I'll turn this one over. It wasn't looking like as crisp as we've been, all season long. But you know what? We were playing a very tough team. These are 2-time national defending champions. As much as I also dislike Mr. Hurley, he's a hell of a coach.
Yes, he is.
He's a terrific coach.
Yes,
Let's not get that part of it wrong. I don't like the aftermath. I don't like his attacking refs. I don't like all that other garbage that he does because he doesn't need to do it. He is a hell of a coach, okay? He's got to stop that stuff. He really does, but obviously he's not going to because nobody's going to reprimand him, so he'll continue to do what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, from those of the people that follow me on social media, you will know that I have now dubbed him Code, K-O-A-D, the king of all douchebags. This is where I will flash a picture of him for everyone to see. Yeah, so we looked tight. We definitely looked a little bit scared at the beginning. And at halftime, I was thinking, we have no business winning this game because we just didn't look, we looked out of sorts. Clayton was off, and nobody was really stepping up. It was tied at half, and UConn was shooting only 25% and getting pretty good looks. So I thought we were going to lose by 10. Go ahead.
Did you notice, for whatever reason, the last, 4, 5, 6 games, Alex Condon's not Alex Condon. There's something not right there. I mean, it's like he made some terrific plays. So down the stretch, he was all of them down the stretch were fantastic. But he doesn't seem to be the same aggressive guy that we've seen all year long. Now, I don't know if it's the ankle or what the hell's going on, but the start of the game, it was like he pulled him out right away. I mean, there wasn't even a hesitation. He pulled him out.
I'll get into that in a little bit. I think our entire team played very hard. They just looked scared to me. I texted one of my new internet friends, one of my new Gator Nation Facebook group friends named Let, L-E-T-T, which is like, he's like the king of our group. Everyone knows Let. And I texted him or direct messaged him at halftime. And I said, I think we're in trouble. And Let's simple response was, we're fine. We'll be good. I'm like, all right,
Who else said that?
Papa Bear right
Thank
there.
you.
Papa
Thank
Bear also said that. I was just like, they were shooting 25%, 26%. They weren't making a lot of their shots. They were getting a lot of open looks. We looked out of sorts. I'm like, this is the script I've seen thousands of times in my life.
Yeah.
The team, UConn's going to win. And it looked like they were better coached. And then with about 5 minutes to go, we woke up. Martin kept us in the game early. Martin came out. The only one with like a fire in his eyes was Elijah Martin. Like he had been there before. Clayton, people will say he plays smooth, and he does. But there are times where he looks lackadaisical with passes. There are times it doesn't look like he's playing very hard on defense. I'm sure he is. It's just his presence.
That's his nature. That's his nature.
Richard is always busting ass. Hawk is always running around crazy, going for every single rebound. Condon has taken a back seat a little bit. I think other teams have seen how good he can be, and when he is on fire, we cannot be stopped. So I think teams have adjusted a little bit.
Well, the great thing about Condon was at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, the last 4 or 5 minutes, when he was guarding their center up and down inside the lane, and they threw an inadvertent pass, and he got it and threw it down, and I think it was it Richard who threw it in? Yeah. I mean, that was a real turning point because that kind of gave us a little bit of a gap point-wise. But you go ahead.
Yeah, I think there was he went straight up. It could have been a foul, and Hurley, of course, wanted a foul late in the game, where I think they were up by 2, and Caravan was going for a layup, and Condon went straight up, and they didn't call a foul. He grabbed the rebound, got the outlet. That's when Clayton hit his first 3 to put us up by 1 when we were down by 2.
Right.
That guy makes that layup and or gets fouled. I mean, it's 4 or 5. All of a sudden, we're up by 1. Then the play happens that what you're talking about, where Richard stole it from behind. Condon grabs the ball, throws it to Richard, and then we're up by 3, and then we're looking really good. So let me say a couple things about Clayton. I have a comp, Pops. It's a stretch. It's a little bit of a stretch. It is a comp that's been made by other people, but I saw it firsthand. I think Walter Clayton Jr. reminds me a little bit, and in several ways, of one Steph Curry in the NBA. Now, hear me out. Hear me out.
You know, I got.
Is that Mom's elbow in the background?
I got the grandson here.
I thought it was.
You saw Steph Curry. I was watching that game. I saw some big shots, but Steph Curry.
That is my nephew, Nate. I want you to sit back down, young man. Sit back down and take in the rest of the show. And maybe you can listen to my little comp. Okay, they're both 6'3". They both can drain from deep. Now, Clayton will probably never be Steph Curry. Steph Curry is one of a kind, one of one. But they somewhat look alike. They drain from 3. They're both point guards, but not really traditional point guards. Steph definitely gets loose with the ball late in games at times. But when he needs to, he drains them over people, around people, from deep. And that's exactly what Clayton did when we needed him the most. He stepped up, became the All-American again in that 3-minute span. And he still, even though we say he was off, he still scored 23 points. He was still 5 of 8 from 3.
The second 3 that he took for us to go up by 6, okay?
Yeah.
It was one of those where I was saying, no, yeah.
Oh, it was so smooth. A couple other things about the game. So we won 77-75. It was basically a 5-point game. They hit a 3 at the buzzer, which was meaningless. Your buddy Bill Murray was in the stands.
I saw that.
You went to high school.
I went to high school with Bill Murray, yeah.
He seems to root for a lot of different teams, but he roots for Connecticut because I guess his his son is an assistant coach.
Right.
McNeely's mom, I feel like she got more camera time than a lot of the Gator players did. McNeely's mom on Connecticut.
You know, it's this Gator bias again. It's reversed. You know, they don't like to show us. They like to show everybody else in the stands. And every once in a while, we all saw Will Richards' father, but it wasn't very often.
At the very end, when we went
yeah.
up by 3, and then we went up
Yeah.
by 6, we went up by 8, I actually saw that we had Gator fans there. And I guess Gator players' parents were allowed in the stands. So good for them. Thanks, CBS, for acknowledging that our players do have parents and they do like to watch their games in person.
I thought it was just ESPN that had a grudge against us, but I guess now it's CBS also.
It's everybody. So just to wind out this game, I think it was a team win. Clayton obviously sealed it at the end. Richard had some big shots. Martin had some big play early. Hawk, Condon, Chinyelu all had 7 rebounds. Condon did have 5 points and 4 assists. Moving forward, Pops, there's one major thing.
I'm probably going to say it right here. Listen, we were 22 out of 34 in free throws. Okay?
There it is.
Listen, Condon missed 5. He was 2 out of 7. Yeah. And then everybody else, 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. But Condon, it was just kind of like, come on, you got to get your head together here. You know, we're going towards, 4 more games. We got 4 more games to play.
Yeah, moving forward, you can't miss free throws and win games.
No.
UConn is a very well-coached team.
Yes.
They played that game exactly how they were taught to play it, the way exactly that Danny Hurley wanted them to play it. The one thing that UConn was missing that they didn't have the last 2 years was a superstar.
Yeah.
Caravan is not a superstar. I think it was 2 for 9 from 3. A couple other guys were 2 for 8.
Their freshman's pretty damn good. He's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, they got really good players. If they had a superstar or somebody that was great and not good, they probably would have won the game. But too bad.
The one thing I saw in the second half that I was very happy that Golden did was we stopped switching and we just started playing man. And because every time we were switching in the first half, we were getting killed. I mean, they were running right by us. And they were making layup after layup after layup. So I was glad he made that correction for the second half. Listen, I said it before. Hurley's a hell of a coach.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you can't be back-to-back national champions without being a hell of a coach.
But we passed him. We slayed the beast. That guy's a douchebag. I hate him. Let's move on. Let's look ahead to the Maryland game. They are calling themselves the Crab Five, the Maryland Terrapins. I'm pretty sure a terrapin is a turtle of some sort.
It is a turtle.
There are crabs in Maryland. So, okay, you're the Crab Five, a takeoff of the Fab Five. That's fine. And their Crab Five is Rice, Miguel, Gillespie, Reese, and Queen. Queen is their freshman superstar, I guess. He's the one that hit their game-winning shot at the buzzer and played a great game against Colorado State. Some say it was a travel. I think it was part of the gather. Unless it's a blatant travel or foul, the refs aren't going to call.
Listen, I thought you said it right for our game. Listen, you're going to miss some calls. The referee's going to miss the calls on both sides. It just wasn't one way. They missed calls on both sides.
Yeah.
I said before the season, before the playoff, the NCAA tournament started, that listen, they're gonna call it differently because in the SEC, you can kill somebody and they're not gonna call a foul. I mean, and so it's a little bit different. But you have to go with the flow of the game. If you find out what they're calling, fine, they'll call it.
So what do you?
I don't know if Queen walked or not. I mean, today, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, what do you see in your research on Maryland? What do you see? What do you fear?
Well, to me, their big three is Queen, Reese, and Rice. I mean, from 17 to 15 to 16 points for those three. And they had Queen had 6 rebounds, Reese had 11 rebounds, Rice had 4. I mean, those are their big three. They need to stop. Now, here's the thing about Maryland: they don't go any more than 7 deep. If they get into foul trouble, which we can create sometimes a little bit, they might be in trouble a little bit. I still think we'll win the game, but. They only go 7 deep, and the 7th player, I looked at his numbers, he doesn't do much. So it's really 6. The 7th guy goes in when they need fouls and stuff. So this should be an interesting game. I will say that we should only go 8 deep because I don't want to put a Gator down, but his game is just not there right now. And he's not making the threes that we need him to make, okay? And so he needs to just sit for a while.
Well, we're talking about Clapchart, number 7.
Yeah.
The little white guy from across seas. He's had some moments during the season.
Yes, he has.
He the last couple games he's played, he has looked outclassed, out-talented.
He's a little bit scared out there, to be honest. I think he's a little bit scared.
When they pan up on him, he looks like he's scared. So I have a bunch of things about Maryland.
Yeah.
So Queen is their freshman. Angel Reese's brother is on this team.
Yes.
So Reese is Angel Reese's brother. We will see her in the stands for sure. Maryland is 27-8. What I will say when I did my research on Maryland earlier today, all 8 losses, Pops, 27-8, all 8 losses were by 6 points or less.
Yes.
They lost 4 games at the buzzer. So their buzzer beater against Colorado State was time for them to switch that script a little bit. But every single game they've played this year, they've either won or lost by just a little bit. It will probably be a close game. They beat Grand Canyon in the first round, 13th seeded Grand Canyon, 81-49. Just annihilated Bryce Drew and company from Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
They barely beat Colorado State. Most teams will say that, except for maybe the UConn team from last year, you need a close game in the early rounds to get you in tournament mode.
Right.
Both Florida and Maryland had that game in round 2. So it will be a great game. The Gators are favored by 6.5, Pops.
Yes.
The over-under is 156.5.
Yes.
As of Tuesday. So you put those numbers again together. Vegas is saying Florida's going to win this game roughly 81-75, which I think is pretty much what I'm looking at. I would love to see us blow them out and have a mom game where we don't have to worry about it, but it's the Sweet 16.
Listen, one of the things I looked at also when you were talking about they've only lost, their games by 6 or less. I'll go back to what we said before the tournament started, okay? There was criticism all over everywhere that, oh my God, there's 14 teams in the SEC that are in this tournament. Should there have been 14 teams? No, probably not. Probably, 11, maybe 12 would have been the right number. Who knows?
Uh-huh.
But let's be honest here about who's the conference. The 16 teams left, 7 of them are SEC teams, okay? Yeah. So let's just make sure that we understand. I heard this Big Ten hasn't lost a game yet. Well, okay, all right. Before after the first round. I'm just saying, we have 7 teams left, and 2 of the teams are going to play against each other. Tennessee and Kentucky are going to play against each other. But we're still a tough conference.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, who we play during the season does make a difference in the long run. So let's see how this all comes about. I don't have a problem thinking that we're going to cover the spread. We're going to cover the spread with this game.
I for all you gamblers out there, I am probably right 45 to 50% of the time with or less with my predictions, which makes me qualified to be an ESPN top anchor, by the way. But I'm pretty sure that the over-under is going to be over 156.5. And the reason I say that is I think Todd Golden is going to get back into running up and down. UConn slowed us down. We can win that type of game because we have the bodies. We have the bigs. We have the half-court offense. We can do that. But I think we're at our best in 2025, this team this year, when we're running up and down and we're scoring a lot of points. I think he's going to once again make us, fly up and down the court. I think that we're going to try and get them tired. Like you said, there's not a lot of depth there. We are going to play more inside out like we did earlier in the year.
Right.
And try and get their bigs in foul trouble because then they're finished. So I do look at us winning something like 90-81. I think I'm going to say 90-81 Gators. And look for Queen to have a big game. Their freshman center, he's 6'10". They have a pretty similar lineup that we do. They've got like 3 guards right around 6'1", 6'3", 6'4", and then a big guy at 6'9", and Queen at 6'10", and we'll run out the same exact thing. So I like our chances against Maryland. You never know what can happen, but we're going to win.
Yes, we are. No doubt.
So, what? Yeah, chop, 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 chop. So, looking at quickly, any other matchups pique your interest, Pops, in the other games on Thursday or Friday?
I mean, here's the thing. There are, what's left? There's 4 number 1s, 3 number 2s, 2 number 3s, 3 number 4s, okay? And then there's a 5, a couple 6s, and a 10. So the cream of the crop rose to that 1 through 4, okay? So, again, when I said before the tournament started, I thought they ranked these teams pretty well. The seeds were pretty good because if you look at this right now, you got 5, you got 12 of the 16 teams left are 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's good seeding. That's how you have to do it, all right? So I think the interesting game for me is only because I'm an SEC guy is Tennessee against Kentucky. Interesting fact. Tennessee is, both of us think Tennessee is a hell of a defense. Kentucky has beaten them twice. So this is going to be a very interesting game.
Okay, so Kentucky is 2-0 against Tennessee this year.
Yes.
They did not play in the tournament, so they've played twice.
They did not.
And Kentucky's beaten them both times. Wow.
Yeah.
I like the Duke Arizona matchup. That's just from the past. I feel like they've played for a title at some point. Ole Miss, Michigan State intrigues me because Ole Miss is really playing good, and Chris Beard is the coach that took Texas Tech, I believe, to the final game.
Right.
So,
to me, the other one that I'm looking at is Auburn and Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan is coming on, and they're coming on fast, okay? So Auburn, who has been, the top team most of the year in the ranking-wise, okay, they're going to have their hands full. I think this is going to be a real nail-biter, too, this Auburn-Michigan game. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, and the winner of our game, the Florida-Maryland game, plays the winner of the Arkansas-Texas Tech game in the Elite Eight. I think Calipari's run might come to an end. Texas Tech looking good.
Yeah.
They are well coached as well. I'm in Indiana, so Purdue and Houston is – everyone's talking about that here.
Speaking of games, because we're into the Sweet 16 now, St. John's. Can we talk a bit about St. John's? All I heard about how great this team played defense and this – and then I heard during the game, well, they're not very good shooters. Well, how the hell are you going to win a game if you can't shoot?
That's exactly it, Pops. We talked about Ken Pom a bunch in part one.
Yeah.
And they were number 1 in defense in the nation. But the reason why they weren't picked by many people is on offense, they were number 65.
Yeah.
Number 65 on offense, number 1 on defense. You got to be able to make shots.
And it showed, by the way.
Yeah. The updated rankings of Ken Pom has Florida second in the country in offense and 11th in defense. And it has Maryland 6th in defense and 22nd in offense. So, should be a good game. All right. Well, let's move on, Pops.
Yeah.
To a great segment here. We're going to talk about our favorite Gator moments in the tournament. In tournaments past. We each have 2. I'm going to let you start with your favorite moment of all time in the big dance involving our Florida game.
Okay, both of them were overtime, so I'll have to pick one of these games, all right? I think, God, I love cheese, but I think I'm going to go with Mike Miller, okay?
All right.
So here's the deal. Overtime against, I think it's the Wisconsin Badgers.
No.
That was the Chioza game. This was against Butler. Okay?
Pops is struggling. All right, go ahead.
This was against Butler.
Yeah.
And went into overtime, and there were 3 seconds left. Teddy Dupay runs down the court, sees nothing, hands the ball to Miller. Miller just goes up the middle and just throws the ball up.
Little floater.
As the buzzer's going off, and we win 69-68. That was in the year 2000, by the way. That was in the year we went to the final game.
Yeah, that what kick-started Billy Donovan's run of great teams and going deep in the tournament. Yeah. That was with Dupay and Haslam and Brett Nelson and Donnell Harvey. I believe Justin Hamilton was on that team. And of course, Mike Miller with that buzzer beater. I screamed at Billy the whole game. And
you're still screaming at Billy.
I am. And then after Mike hit that shot, I was living in a house in Des Plaines, Illinois with 5 buddies, and we were all watching the game. I ran outside and yelled at the top of my lungs after that shot, "We're going to the Final Four!" I just knew if we got, because we looked scared, kind of like this year's team against UConn. We looked scared. We looked unsure of ourselves, and that propelled us. We beat the hell out of, I think, Illinois next, and then we beat Duke. Yeah.
Right. Before you pick your one, can we just give a little credit to Billy Donovan? He's nominated, finally nominated to go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, this guy's got 2 national titles, where I can name you 4 coaches right now that have 1, and they're
it's a crime he's not. It's a crime he's not in.
It's a trap. You know.
All right, so I'm going to go with Cheese. You kind of alluded to it. Chris Chiozza hit a running 3-pointer at the buzzer against Wisconsin. We were down by 2 and hit the 3 in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite 8. This was just a few years ago. I was in a bar called the Stacked Pickle in Indy, and it was a big Gator fan group there. We all went bananas. That was back when I was drinking. I can't believe I even remember that, but I was sober enough to know that I was running up and down the bar just screaming my head off. It was my favorite moment, the Cheese moment. All right, go ahead.
You know a little bit about that game. We were down by 2, like you said, in overtime, with 4 seconds to go. So Cheese took the ball, ran all the way down court, and the shot itself was a one-handed shot. It wasn't even, he threw the ball up there. I mean, it was, oh my God. And this got us to the Elite 8. That's what it got.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I was just happy that he got the ball, not Casey Hill. Casey Hill was a great Gator in his time, but I was happy that Chris was hot. I knew that he was going to make that shot. So
what other ones you got?
Well, you're up, buddy. You're up.
No, you go ahead. You go next.
Fine, I'll go ahead. My second one and final one. Scotty Wilbekin in 2014. In the Elite 8, we were kind of struggling the first half against an upstart Dayton team, which I believe got Archie Miller the Indiana job, that run. But it was the Elite 8 2014. That was the team that went 21-0 overall in the SEC. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. In the regular season, they went 18-0, and then they went 3-0 in the tournament. That team was the number 1 overall seed, and we were struggling against Dayton. We were not playing well, and at the end of the first half, Scotty kind of like waved people off and chucked one up about 24, 25 feet out, nothing but net, and went off the court like with his hands up, and I knew we were going to the Final Four at that point. We were not going to lose that game with our team and what Scotty just did with that momentum going into halftime. So that was my second favorite moment of all time.
Yeah, that was my third. So I mean, it was
okay.
we've had some great highlights. Now I wouldn't like these kind of highlights. I just like to win the game and not have to worry about the last second shot. That would be nice. But they are exciting. You said it right in one of your posts. The first round was like, okay. Second round, everything kind of started happening.
Yeah,
there were some really close games.
Yeah.
A couple of buzzer beaters. It was good.
I'll put a bow on that. Stephen A. Smith, I do not like him at all. I don't agree with most of what he says. He did make a great point recently. After the first round games were almost all blowouts, no buzzer beaters, he said NIL is killing college basketball. If you're a good player on a small team, you're going to transfer immediately. I'm just waiting for a time where people can transfer at halftime. So hopefully that never happens. Hopefully they get their handle on NIL money, maybe a salary cap, maybe go back to having to skip to lose a year if you transfer, because he's right in that effect that if you're a good player, you are going to go to a bigger school to get more, spotlights on and more money.
In that mode, one of my least favorite basketball players is Angel Reese. I got no use for her. First of all, tremendous rebounder, not a very good shot. But anyway, She's complaining that they want to go on strike because she's only making $75,000 and she can't pay her bills because she's living in Chicago.
Pops.
But here's the deal. Do you know what she got her last year at LSU in the NIL? $1.8 million. So I understand why she can't pay her bills.
That's a whole nother podcast we might have to talk about. But yes, we will see her in the stands against Maryland. We will see her brother playing some ball against our Gators in the Sweet 16. I can't wait. All the big boys have come to the Sweet 16, and it is going to be a battle out there every single game.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
think there's a game that's more than 8-point spread. We will see a couple buzzer beaters. Let's hope that the Gators find a way to beat the Crab Five. I do believe that is going to happen, and we will march on.
In our next podcast, which will be our third and final podcast,
Part 3.
we will already have had 2 banners. I'm just telling you that right now.
I hope so. Win or lose this game, we are going to do a part 3 for sure. If anybody likes what you're seeing, if you got some good chuckles out of us, if you know
If
that
you
we
hate us and you want to tell us that, go ahead.
If you hate us, you want to tell us, you want to tell me that it's not a podcast, it's just a YouTube vlog or it's a video diary, you might be accurate. You might be technically correct. I'm doing the best I can with what we have. But subscribe. Give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're not against taking donations for better equipment. Send us money. Start a GoFundMe for us, please. We can use the resources. But can't wait, Pops. Always great seeing you. And as always, I'm Mike. That is Pops. This was the Big Dance Podcast. This was part 2, Survive and Advance. I'm going to finish off this episode by saying, come on, Gators.
Let's get up and go. Say goodbye,
Get up and
Nate.
go Gators. Hey, Nate, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want you on camera again. Part 3. Maybe I'll get you on part 3. All right. Until next time, everybody. We'll see you. Chop, chop.